Hi everyone, and welcome to another apartment renovation. Today I'm making an apartment for the Sims that I made in my trying out story mode create a sim that I uploaded a few days ago. Because in that video I made 3 random and very different roommates by just answering the new personality quiz however I felt like answering it. So we ended up with Sims that had traits and skills that didn't really seem like they went together, obviously. Like, they're definitely very different Sims that I would usually make. And it was definitely a challenge trying to puzzle piece that together and come up with a story and personality that made sense of all of that. But I did really enjoy it, and I thought it'd be fun to take it a step further and try to make an apartment for these Sims and try to show those very different skills and traits and personalities through this apartment. And I had an absolute blast making this apartment. It's definitely one of my favorite apartments that I made, maybe even my favorite apartment. I just absolutely love this style. It's just kind of this shabby, mismatched furniture kind of a style, and I really like building that way because you can just get super creative trying to mix all these stuff together in a realistic way, you know, because it's kind of hard to pull off a mismatched furniture look, but it's really fun when you can actually manage to pull it off. So I am making this apartment in the 19 Culpeper House apartment, and I just want to use this one because it has a good amount of space for 3 roommates. You could definitely work out a lot of different floor plans with it. So even though I've used this apartment twice already, I think, I did come up with a different layout than what I used it the other 2 times. So right now I'm putting in the kitchen. So it's kind of where it originally was, like when you first go into this apartment, but everything else is arranged differently around it. So we just have the living room off to the right side of that, and then the bedrooms are more so along the front. And I do like this layout because they can actually get outside to the balcony through the living area. Like, they don't have to go through bedrooms to get out there. And as I discussed in that Creative Sim video, I definitely saw the scenario as being one of them was maybe living in this apartment to begin with and then made a posting saying that they needed roommates. Or maybe another situation could be that someone found this apartment and knew that they're going to need roommates, so then they made a posting. So it wasn't a situation where one person was already living here and had already decorated the place and then brought the other 2 people in. Like, it's kind of like, hey, I found this place, I can't like pay for it all myself, so I need to have roommates, so I'm gonna make sure I find those roommates before I move in. And I kind of think maybe that works a little bit better than it being a situation where we're saying that someone was already here and kind of got situated a little bit and then brought other people in, because I feel like the style of the living area of this apartment doesn't really, like, it's not really the style of one of the specific Sims. I feel like it's kind of a bit more of a mix of all 3 of the Sims, because the Sims we ended up with were, the first one was named Damian Okafor, and he is lazy, materialistic, and genius, but he also wants to become a bodybuilder. And that's what I mean when I said kind of contradictory traits that don't really make sense, because lazy Sims do not like exercising, but then this guy wants to be a bodybuilder. So kind of like the reasoning I came up with for that was that he wants to be ripped, become ripped because he's materialistic. He kind of cares about how he looks. He wants to look like impressive and super fit, but he doesn't really want to put in like a ton of work to get there. So he tries to figure out ways to maximize the benefits of going to the gym. So, you know, he works out as little as possible to get the best results. And then he also came out as unemployed, so he's kind of trying to figure out his plan in life. But he is very intelligent, so he's always managed to land on his feet and, you know, find his way through life. And then the second Sim was Maggie Aldridge, who wants to become a comedian. She's also cheerful, she's a loner, and she's clumsy. And then the last Sim was Luca Della Rosa, who wants to become a computer whiz. He's self-absorbed, he's gloomy, and he's a geek. And he's also a vampire, which definitely makes things a little bit more interesting. And Maggie and Damian both had the standard amount of starting funds, and then Luca had a little bit above average. So I was originally thinking maybe Luca was the one who owned this apartment and then brought the other 2 in since he does have more money. But I don't know if the style I went for at the main area exactly is 100% Luca's style, because I imagine him as having this kind of a slightly dated style because he is a vampire. So he's been around for hundreds of years, so he may not have like he may not be fully into modern decor. But I don't think the main area of this apartment kind of exactly ended up being what I would imagine his style to be. I think some of it is because I was trying to add some slightly dated items to this main area that I thought suited him, but I definitely more so see the main area as kind of being a mixture of all of them. Like Maggie likes, you know, because she's cheerful, I made a lot of her outfits more colorful. She kind of likes bright colors and just colorful things. So I was kind of imagining that that coat rack and table near the entrance was hers because it does have that little splash of color to it, unlike a lot of the other items in this apartment. And then I also add some sports related things to it, which I was imagining were Damian's contribution, since he is, you know, he doesn't want to become a bodybuilder. I imagine even though he may not want to play professional sports himself, he is kind of into sports. So that reflects him. So I'm thinking, like, what kind of makes sense to me is that Luca was the one who found this apartment and was the one who posted the listing, but he wasn't already in it before they moved in with him. So he kind of got first pick of the bedrooms because of that. So his bedroom is the one that's behind the bathroom. And the reason I did that was because that's the room that has the least amount of window light in it. Like, it has, two of the bedrooms have one window, but that one has a smaller window than the other one. So I kind of thought it made sense to put him in that bedroom because him being a vampire and all, he would probably want as little light exposure as possible. And then I gave Maggie the room that's on the end of it towards the balcony because that one had two windows in it. And I was thinking that since she was cheerful, maybe she would like a lot of sunlight. So my choosing of the rooms in this apartment was pretty much solely dependent on how much sunlight each room had. But I feel like for these Sims, it kind of worked. And another possibility that I was thinking of for like this whole apartment decoration situation was that maybe Luca did originally move here, but he chose this furnishing that wasn't exactly his style because he's trying to put off the image that he is a modern day struggling 20-something trying to make it as an actor, because that's another aspect of him. So what I said in that video was that even though he's kind of laid low throughout his whole life to hide his vampirism, like he stayed out of the limelight, now he's like, you know what, what's the point of living this long life if I can't have fun, if I can't like do something crazy and try to become an actor and try to become famous? So he's just kind of saying, screw it. He's trying to become an actor. So he's trying to put on this image of a struggling 20-something actor, and this shabby furniture, this like shabby, cheap found furniture look kind of like goes well with that role. And that's why I think this guy could work as an actor, because, you know, living the life he's lived, he's probably lived many different lives. Like, this guy is acting. Like, just to get by in his life, this guy's acting. So I think it actually works really well for him. Oh, and here in the bathroom, I thought it'd be cute if I put 3 towels up. And I was trying to pick colors for them that I felt suited each of their personalities, like a brighter color towel for Maggie and a dark towel for Luca, and then, I don't know, just like a regular standard towel for Damian. So I was kind of trying to do that there. So that's why we have the 3 towels there. And something I did want to mention about the living area that I liked, like, you know, that was a detail that I liked, was that I did stick that desk chair at the dining table, which I know might have seemed kind of odd, but I like the idea that they're trying to piece together this dining set, and they found this like kind of worn table at the flea market because they are in the Spice District. So the flea market is right there. So I was kind of thinking maybe they went down there and they found that kind of beat up table, because I did use the one from Island Living. I like that sort of worn look that it had. So they found that, and then they're like, okay, we got to get chairs. So each of them picked out a random chair. So I'm kind of thinking that like each chair sort of like reflects each of their personalities a little bit, or, you know, like they each have their own specific chair. So that painted one that came with City Living, I'm thinking is Maggie's. And then the desk chair, I'm thinking is Damian's. And then the other one that came from Cats and Dogs is a little bit more dated looking, I'm thinking is Luca's. But I like the idea of a desk chair there, because I did watch New Girl in the past, and like one of the things I thought was interesting from that show was that one of their dining chairs was a desk chair. And I did say in an apartment build that I did before that that was something I wanted to do whenever I made a shabby roommate apartment again. So I thought this would be the perfect opportunity to just do that. Just kind of do that. It's just a detail I think is really fun and adds some personality to this apartment. And in case anyone noticed it and happened to be wondering, that dartboard that I put up on the wall is functional. I stuck it there and I wasn't sure if they would actually still be able to use it because there are a lot of objects intersecting the path of it. But I did play test it and they can actually use it, and it kind of works out nicely where it's placed, because when they're using it, they end up standing right beside the coffee table and they don't actually intersect it. So I'm really glad that it worked out like that, because when I put it down, I wasn't sure whether it worked or not. I was thinking, well, it's fine if it doesn't, because it's more of like a decorative thing. It's just something I thought would be kind of fun to have in the apartment, but it did make me really happy that it actually is functional. But currently we're decorating Maggie's room, and I stuck those bowling trophies and that bowling pin on the table next to her TV because one of the skills she ended up with was the bowling skill, which was kind of random, but she did get that because I answered the question about bowling with strike, and I guess that answer gives them the bowling skill, but it's just kind of like a random quirk of her personality that I really liked. So because of that, I was imagining that maybe in the past she was really into competitive bowling, or, you know, maybe she still is. So I just added those bowling trophies to that table like they're ones that she owned. She's just got a bowling pin, like it's some kind of bowling pin that's special to her, and then I also put that jersey from kids' room stuff above her bed because I was thinking that there was a bowling jersey that hangs up on the wall that came with bowling stuff, but it turns out there wasn't one. But I thought that one kind of worked, so even though it's supposed to be a soccer jersey, I'm imagining it's more so a bowling jersey. Like maybe that's just a jersey from a winning team she was on that she put up to just remember that win by. And I also put some nice cheerful colors in her room. And I also didn't stick any plants in her room. I don't think I stuck plants in any of their rooms, but I primarily didn't stick them in her room because when I was going through the quiz, I answered the one question about what they grow in their garden with weeds, and then I answered another one by saying they like flowers most dead during the winter. So I just kind of like definitely because of that didn't want to stick plants in her room because I was imagining that rather than it being that she's kind of like a dark person, it's more so just that she's really doesn't have a green thumb and like always kills plants whenever she's trying to grow them. So that's something she just realized about herself. And in the comments of the trying out story mode video, someone, I want to say it was Jay, hopefully I'm not wrong, and that brought up that maybe it's kind of part of a comedy skit that she does. Like she has this whole bit about how she kills plants and has been kicked out of community gardens, and I absolutely love that idea. But now we're on to Damian's room, and he is a sim who wants to become a bodybuilder. So I was adding some sports-related things around his room, like we got more of these basketball jerseys, we got that poster with the sports-related pictures on it, and then that basketball hoop thing above his bed. And I also do stick a weight machine in his room, and his room has very matchy furniture, like it all just looks like it comes with one complete set. And after I did that, I was kind of having second thoughts on it. I was like, I don't know, maybe I should have gone with more of a mismatched look to kind of go with the main area of the apartment. But then I thought about it more, and I realized this does actually work because he is materialistic. So I could see him wanting a set of furniture that looked very nice and together. You know, he wouldn't want to have a room that just looks like mismatched, shabby furniture. So I could see him, you know, going to IKEA and getting a cheap set that matches, you know, something that looks nice within his budget. So because of that, I think that works pretty well. But right now we're on to the last bedroom, which is Luca's. And originally I was thinking for his room, I could go with a very dark theme, like dark and super ornate and Victorian, but that didn't end up happening. And part of that was because I was starting to run low on the budget towards the end here. And I was trying to stick with the budget that the game gave us, which was around 51,000 simoleons. But I ended up giving myself 5,000 extra because I absolutely loved what I had done with this apartment so far, and I didn't want to have to take any of that away. Like I didn't want to compromise what I had done at all. So I thought, well, what's another 5,000 simoleons? That's fine, right? So I just gave myself that extra money to do what I wanted to do with this apartment, and I just absolutely love how it turned out. But in the end, with Luca's room, I lightened things up a little bit because originally I had that dark purple wall, but when I was sticking the black furniture in with it, it just looked too dark. Like I wanted something to kind of balance that out a little bit, and I was thinking maybe I could use that bed from Vampires, but one, that was super duper expensive, and two, I don't know, I just wasn't quite feeling that with this apartment, so I stuck this base game bed in here, which I think still has that kind of dated, you know, just really nice dated look to it, but isn't quite as over the top as that other bed that I was going to use was. And then we got some other furniture in here that does feel dated, but not quite as ornate as what I was originally going to go for, because I was kind of thinking, you know, he wants a room that kind of reflects his style, like that more dated style that he has, but he wants something that doesn't seem too weird in case they do happen to go into his room, which he really doesn't like them to. You know, he's got some odd stuff in here, but it's not like he's sleeping in a coffin, which is what he wanted to. Like, he loves sleeping in coffins. He would much rather have a coffin than this bed, but in the event they go into his room, like, it'd be kind of hard to explain why he sleeps in a coffin, so he decided to just get a regular human bed. But he does still have some kind of odd stuff in this room, like that vulture sculpture, and then he has that random book on a stand. that did come with vampires. I'm not sure how exactly he would explain what that is. Like maybe it's just some book that he really likes, or I don't know, maybe some kind of like religious book. There's probably some kind of explanation he would come up with to try to say what that is. And I'm not sure what exactly it was supposed to be in the game, because I know, vampires don't really do spells like witches do, so it's not like a spell book. But right now I'm working on the outside, or on the balcony, and I thought it'd be kind of neat to have 3 different mismatching chairs around that bubble blower. And then we also have the yoga mat and meditation stool for Damian, because he does also like to meditate and do yoga. But we're almost at the end of the building part of the video, so as usual, if you want to download this, there will be a link to do so in the description. There'll be other stuff in there, how to find it in-game, and that's going to be all from me, so hope you enjoy the rest of the video.